Good morning! It's time for Sunday Sum Up, and I'm excited about it. I am. I had a bit of a rough week this week, so it started out really well, and I was doing well, but then I had a couple of really low days, and it was good and it was bad. It was bad because I haven't had low days like that for a while, but it was good because it actually lit a fire under my ass for a couple of things I need to work towards taking care of. So I had some good conversations. I got an appointment to see a therapist because I think it's been way too long. So just time for a little bit of a tune-up up there. It has been good since then. I got to catch up with a friend. We haven't talked in a little while, so that helped me that day especially. And it just, sometimes things get really hard up here. Sometimes they get really hard. And I've been trying so hard here in 2022 to keep everything balanced. And it's been really good so far. But there are certain things that I haven't worked on that it came to like a crashing realization that I still have to take care of those things. So I'm happy that it happened. I was having some issues with how I was feeling about work. And so I did have a great long conversation with my boss. And so I'm feeling much better now, which is good, which is very good. So as far as my reading went this week, though, it wasn't amazing. Like even with the children's books and reading for school, there wasn't a lot going on because I was just struggling with wanting to read. I did read El Deafo, and I will give you a review of that soon. That was for my class. And I did continue reading other books. So let's talk really quickly about where I'm at with my reading. Madship, I have been continuing to read. I'm on page 580, I think. That's an 850-page book. And my goal is to have it done by Monday. I think I can do it. I'm excited. I have more to read tonight because, well, it's actually Saturday when I'm filming this because, I'm not that quick of an editor. So I'm going to be doing some reading sprints on my channel tonight with my friend Shell. And so hopefully get more of Madship done tonight. And if you haven't had a chance to see those reading sprints, because they will already be out by now, go ahead and check them out if you want to join in post reading sprint. That would be great. As far as the other two books that I'm actively working on, that's Bitter Fog, which I'm about 20% of the way through now. I didn't get much of a chance to pick that one up this week. And then I have been listening to The Reading List by Sara Nisha Adams. And that one I think 75% of the way through. So I'm getting through that one and it is so good. It's so good. I actually want to get a copy of that because I think I'll want to read it physically at some point. So I'm excited. I'm excited about that book. It's just very warm and fuzzy and gives you a lot of great feelings about books, about people who are working through things in their lives that they've been struggling with, but because of books. Like books are helping bring them together with other people, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful book. This morning was really nice because we actually went to a new donut shop here in Bellingham that it opened fairly recently. I don't know exactly when, but it's pretty new. And we got to try out some new donuts, which is nice because we don't have a lot of donut places around here. So it was fun to see something different. And they were interesting donuts. And we only tried one of them. We tried the pineapple macadamia white chocolate one because they're really big donuts. So we're actually going to try the other one tomorrow morning. It was a little more dense, but it was a lot less sweet than other donuts. So it was kind of nice because it wasn't too overwhelming when you're, trying to eat something delicious like a donut, but sometimes donuts get very, very sweet, and this one was pretty balanced with the sweetness. I wasn't sure how excited I was about the texture. It was, like I said, very dense. I was only trying one, so I'm excited to try the other one tomorrow morning and see if this is a donut shop we go to in the future. So it was fun. The line was so long. And when we left, the line was even longer. So it was a popular place. So now I'm going to turn you over to past Amy so she can tell you all about El Deafo. And then I'm going to go in the house so I can do a haul for you because I actually brought in a lot of books recently. So I can't wait to share those. Okay, so on the 26th, I finished another book. And that was a graphic novel called El Deafo by Cece Bell. Because in class, we were doing a section on graphic novels. And we were assigned one of two choices. And my choice was El Deafo. So I was really excited to get to this one because it's actually on my TBR of books I've been wanting to read anyways. ways. So it was nice to check off one of those off my Goodreads TBR. But also, I was really curious to see the representation in this one, because it is actually this middle grade memoir about the woman, Cece Bell, and how she dealt with her own deafness, like going from being a child who was hearing, and I think she was 4 when she had meningitis, then transitioning from that period of hearing, then having this severe illness that was really, really dangerous, and then becoming deaf, and how she handled being deaf, especially growing up. So this was a coming of age story as well as her experience being a deaf person. And of course, there are moments of this that you're watching this character, because it's a graphic novel, and you're like, you want them to make better choices, or you want them to do different things for themselves. But of course, this is her own personal experience. So you understand that as a child as well, it's harder to make some of the decisions that are easier for us to make as adults. And so I'm not saying that everything is easy to do when you're an adult. It's just that when you're a child, things are more difficult in some ways, especially emotions and insecurities and confidence and things like that. So it was so good for that. I really loved how realistic the story was. And granted, it's a memoir, so it's her actual experience. But the way she portrayed children and how they behaved and how they acted towards each other, I thought that was really, really well done. And I actually compared this book to Smile, which is another graphic novel by Raina Telgemeier. I'm probably saying that wrong, but it's the same concept. It's her own personal coming-of-age story with some setback that happens. She has to go through her growing up period, having a lot of surgeries on her mouth and dealing with different types of retainers. And then, of course, it's also just about the everyday difficulties of being a child growing up. So I really liked this one better than Smile for sure. My only issue with it, because I was going to give it 5 stars, and I really feel like it was so well done. And, you know, it's somebody's personal experience. So how do you rate that, right? I think the only reason why I decided it wasn't quite a 5 stars for me was because it ended very abruptly. And as much as I liked some of the things that happened at the end, you know, knowing her experience, I just felt like it was very incomplete. And granted, this is only a snippet of someone's life, so I'm not going to know the final part of the story. But just the way it ended was just kind of a little too abrupt for me. And there were questions I still had about activities and events that were happening in her life that I wanted to see what had been a resolution to them or something. And it felt like the story just ended. So I think that's why I'm going to give it 4.5 stars. Like, this is fantastic. I think kids could really relate to this. I think kids will enjoy this content because it is in graphic novel form. So like, it's well done. And I can see adults really appreciating this story as well. Really glad I got the opportunity to read it. And it's valuable to have that perspective on children who are going through really difficult things and feel like they're on the outside and don't know how to handle those emotions and those feelings when they feel like they're on the outside and that everybody's looking at them, staring at them, making fun of them. And it's kind of important just to see examples of this and understand some of the things that make their situations a little easier. And so, you know, this is a good example of, you know, how can you touch the life of someone who is going through something that's more difficult for them. They're having to deal with something that you may not have to deal with, but you can at least support them in different ways. And I think this book is fantastic for that. So if you get a chance, definitely pick up El Deafo. It's fantastic graphic novel wise. I haven't read too many graphic novels that I feel hugely excited about, but this is definitely one of them. All right, it's time for a book haul. I'm excited about this because I actually got a lot of books recently, and they aren't even books that I bought myself. They're books that I either got because people were unhauling them, or I won them, or I just got gifts because my birthday's coming up, which is so wonderful. It's wonderful. So I can't wait to share these with you. First, I'll start with a stack of books that I got because Brittany, one of my subscribers, was doing an unhaul. And the last time she did an unhaul, she asked me if I'd like the books, and I got some of the books from her last time. And this time I was like, yeah, send them to me. I'm interested. So here is the stack that she sent me, which is pretty big. And she also sent me a candy bar, which was delicious. So thank you, Brittany. I'm going to quickly go through these because I don't really know too much about them. I looked at them very briefly when she sent me the list, and I was like, yeah, I'll try all those. And we'll kind of find out as I read them, but I'll tell you what I know about them so far. This is Airhead by Meg Cabot, or Cabot, I don't know which way to pronounce it. And she is the author of The Princess Diaries, which I do want to read because I loved the movies. I don't know if I've seen all of whatever The Princess Diaries were, but I did like that. And this one is about a girl who falls and hurts herself or hits her head or something, and she wakes up in the body of a supermodel. And she's surrounded by all these famous people, and she doesn't know how she got there as this famous supermodel. And it sounds interesting. I don't know how much I'm going to enjoy this, but I'm always willing to try different types of books, and I do enjoy YA. I just find books like this either annoying or charming, so I can't wait to try it out and see what I think about it. So next are some children's books, which I'm really excited about. I'm excited that Brittany sent me some because I'm trying to make my children's / middle grade book library larger. And this is mostly going to be because when I finally have a class, I would like to have a decent sized library. And I want to be able to read all the books and know what I'm offering to the students. So, you know, I'm looking for quality books, of course. And I am excited because I can't wait to see what these are all about and include them in my classroom and be able to talk to my students about them, have little book discussions, or just know what I have so that I can give them suggestions. So the first one is called The Secret of Platform 13. This is by Ava Ibbotson. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. It kind of gives me a little bit of a Harry Potter vibe because there's a secret door that opens up at platform 13 of a train, but the rest of it is completely different. So this is a portal where you go to this magical island, and there's a prince on this island, and apparently some person kidnaps the prince, and there's this like motley crew of people that need to come together and try and rescue the prince. Next, I have a series, and this one's fun because I've actually never heard of this series before. It's called The Enchanted Forest Chronicles, and it's by Patricia Wrede? I'm not sure. And the first one's called Dealing with Dragons. Then we've got Searching for Dragons. And then the fourth one actually is called Talking to Dragons. So I'll probably want to get the third one eventually. In the beginning, at least, this starts out with this princess who is headstrong and tomboyish and all these things that apparently her kingdom isn't quite looking for in a princess. And she's bored of her life. So she decides to run off and live with the dragon. So I'm guessing that's this guy. Next, we have The Phantom of the Opera by Gaston Leroux. Is that how you pronounce his name? I'm not sure, but that's how I would think to pronounce it with my high school French. Gaston Leroux, that's how I would think to pronounce it. But, you know, The Phantom of the Opera. So this is a story about this young woman who is an actress, I think, at a theater, and she's working on becoming a famous actress, or, you know, for this play. And the Phantom, of course, is the opera ghost who is haunting the place, and people just kind of leave him be. But he, I think, falls in love with the girl and starts teaching her how to be a better singer, a better performer. I don't exactly remember, even though I've seen adaptations of this, but I do want to read this eventually. It's a classic that I would like to try out at some point. Next, we've got The Pirate Ruse by Marcia Lynn McClure. And this is a historical fiction / romance. I read that it's a clean romance. I'm hoping that because it's about pirates, it doesn't have too much of the unsavory elements of pirates and how they treat women. Although, you know, I'm reading Live Ship Traders and pirates aren't very nice. But I'm looking forward to this because it sounds interesting, and I do always love books on ships and books out on the sea. So this will be a fun one. The next one is called Found, and it's part of the Missing series. And this is by Margaret Peterson Haddix. And this one is a YA sci-fi. It's about this young boy named Jonah, and he's been adopted, but he gets his phone call saying that he is one of the missing, and he's got to be careful because they're going to come back and get him. And whoever that is, it ends up sending him and I think some of his friends on this wild chase, running from the FBI in this big battle against opposing forces or something like that. And somehow it's a sci-fi, so it must not just be a thriller mystery sort of book. It's also got some sci-fi elements to it. I see in Goodreads that it says time travel might be an element of this, so maybe he has to go back in time or something like that. And finally, I've got the Hemingway stories, and this is a collection of short stories by Ernest Hemingway. And I have never read anything by Hemingway, and so I was really excited to get this because I definitely want to give Hemingway a try. I'm a big fan of classics in general, and I like to at least try all the different authors' writing, and if I don't like it, then I don't have to continue on. But I'd like the opportunity to try Hemingway and see how I feel about him. So those are all the books from Brittany. Again, I'd like to say thank you so much. It's so fun to get your packages, and I am excited to get to some of these, especially some of the middle grades, because I'm doing a lot of focusing on middle grades at the moment. Next, I want to say it's kind of funny because I actually ended up getting a duplicate set of books just recently, and it's because I screwed up a little bit, but it was also nice because these were middle grade books, and so I'm like thinking, oh great, one that I can keep for my personal self that will stay nice, and one that I can bring into my classroom that I can share with the students. And if it gets a little messed up, like I imagine they will at times, then that's okay. So I ended up with 2 copies of Darwin's Dragons. So one copy I actually won from Kim from Expedition Through Pages. She was doing a giveaway on her channel. And I also won The Disordered Cosmos by Chanda Prescod-Weinstein. Prescod-Weinstein. And these books were both actually ones that I asked her for because she was doing a giveaway of some of her favorite books that she read recently. And these both were on the list. And I was very, very interested in both of these. So this is a middle grade fiction about this young boy's journey to the Galapagos Islands with Charles Darwin. And this is right up my alley as a biologist. One of my bucket list places to go sometime in my life is the Galapagos Islands. I really want to go. I have read The Beak of the Finch, which is an amazing nonfiction book if you haven't had a chance to read it. I do have the desire to follow in his footsteps and go to Galapagos Islands. So like, I'm excited about this book. This one is a nonfiction about Dr. Prescod-Weinstein's experience working in the world of physics and being a Black woman and working in this very male-dominated, white-dominated field, and how her experience not only has been with that, but it's also talking about physics and just some of the discoveries she's made, some of the work she has done. And so I'm excited to read this because physics is one of the areas of science that I'm a lot less comfortable with. And so I would like to read more of other people's perspectives and get more of a popular science view of it versus the way I learned physics in school. And also I want to hear about her experience. I want to hear how hard it is. I know how hard it is for a woman in science, but I don't know how hard it is for a Black woman in science. So this is a perspective I am excited to read from. So these were the ones that I won from Kim's channel. Thank you so much, Kim. I love winning things. It doesn't happen very often. And if you haven't checked out Kim's channel, she is one of my very, very good BookTube friends. I adore her. I absolutely adore her. I love her channel. I love her content. If you haven't checked her out, I don't think enough people are checking her out. So go check her out now. She's a very, very wonderful, very sweet, very kind person. So then, of course, I have my other copy of the Darwin's Dragons, and I got this as a gift along with a couple of other gifts, which I'll go over in a second. And this is from Christine from the Autistic Reader. And I recently discovered her channel. She actually found my channel first, and then I started following her, and I've been going over some of her videos recently, and I really enjoy her. She's so sweet. She's also been messaging me through Instagram. We've been going back and forth, having some conversations, and she just shares things with me occasionally. And she's just a really kind-hearted person. And she brought a lot of joy to me this past week because I was having a very rough week. And on the day that was the worst day, we got a package in the mail, and it was this book. Look at that book. This is Pig the Pug by Aaron Blabey. I mean, this is hilarious. So Christine had messaged me a while back and said, you should try Pig the Pug because I've heard of it and it just looks so cute. And I was like, yeah, I'll try and pick that up at some point. And I haven't picked it up yet, but I don't have to now because Christine sent it to me. And this is so darn adorable. I can't wait to check this out. I've been going through so many kids' books lately, and these ones that are really silly and fun are a big draw for kids because they like to laugh. And these kind of books, you know, I mean, how could you not? Like, look how silly that is. So then a couple days later, I get another package, and it's more books from Christine. And one of them was Darwin's Dragons, which I ended up forgetting to take this off my wish list because I had received it from Kim. And I ended up getting a duplicate, which is fine though, because this is the case where if I have two of these, one I get to keep for my own shelf, and one I get to have for my classroom. And that was like perfect. So this ended up being a really awesome mistake on my part. And I am excited to read this book. Big time excited to read this book. But now I also have a beautiful version for my classroom. And then the other book she sent me, which I am beyond excited about, is Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. I need to continue this series. Now I had said that I don't want to start on this one yet. You don't know yet, because I haven't put that video out. I don't want to start on this one until I've read the Shadow and Bone series. So I'm excited to have this. It may take me a little bit of time to get to it, but I loved Six of Crows so much, so much, that I know this is going to be a 5-star read when I finally am able to get to it. So I do want to read the Shadow and Bone series first, because I didn't know when I picked up Six of Crows that was it's not a prequel, but it's in the same world, but it's before the Six of Crows series, and I would like to read all of them. So once I finish the Shadow and Bone series, I'm going to pick up Crooked Kingdom. I'll probably read Six of Crows again. I'll probably reread Six of Crows, and then I'm gonna read this one, and I'm so excited. I can't tell you how excited I am because I loved Six of Crows. Thank you so much, Christine. If you haven't checked out the Autistic Reader, please go check out her channel. She's got amazing content, a lot of individual book reviews, which I do appreciate, and she has this amazing game called The Catwalk, and it's all about cats. It's so adorable. I love all her little icons on it. It's cute. I actually am trying to catch up on them because I wanted to go back and watch the older ones and catch up to the newer version of it. She's a very sweet and kind person, and I've been enjoying getting to know her better as well. I think that's pretty much it for this video. If you've read any of the books that I've talked about, let me know in the comment section down below, or if you want to let me know what you've been reading recently, I would love to hear that. I'd love to hear how your progress in January has been going so far. There's still a couple days left, you know, okay, one, I guess technically one. I hope your January has been great. I'm excited about February. I hope you are as well. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you can see what happens in the first week of February. I'm hoping that February is a more productive reading month for me, just because I'm kind of missing reading at the moment, like reading just for fun. I feel like I've been editing so much lately in January, trying to get all the videos that I was trying to get done, that I'm just like, I just want to read. I'm tired of editing. So hopefully I'll have more opportunities to read in February. It is my birthday month, right? I get to read because it's the month where I get to do whatever the heck I want. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later. Bye.